In the cold silence of space, a broken alien ship floated near a dead moon. Its engines were destroyed, its lights were off, and its crew all gone. Only metal, fire, and drifting bodies remained. But deep inside that ship, under pieces of wreckage and wires, something was still alive. A young alien girl lay trapped, her body wounded, her breathing slow. Her name was Kailari. She had blue, glowing skin that was now bruised and dirty. Her long silver hair was covered in dust. One leg was crushed under metal, and her arm had deep cuts. Her chest rose and fell weakly. Black eyes stared up at the ceiling, but she didn't move. She had lost everything, her ship, her crew, and her hope. Kailari's suit was torn, and her translator was broken. A small light blinked on her chest, the last bit of her signal beacon. It was sending out one message again and again: help, alive, please. No one was near. No one had answered, until now. Far away, in a small recon ship, a human soldier was flying alone. His name was Drew Carter. He had short dark hair, a strong face, and eyes that had seen too many wars. He was finishing his mission and ready to return to Earth when a signal beeped on his screen. It was weak, strange, not human. But something in the voice, the fear, the pain made him stop. He looked at the signal closely. It was coming from a battlefield that was marked dead. Zone. No life expected. No orders to search. But still, he felt something. Drew pressed a button on his radio. Command. I picked up a distress call. Unclassified source. Request permission to investigate. A moment passed. Then a voice replied, cold and direct. Negative. Return to base. That zone is hostile. No survivors expected. Drew stared at the screen. The signal blinked again. Help. Alive. Please. He turned off the radio. Not leaving someone behind, he muttered, changing course. His ship flew toward the wreckage. As he got closer, the view became clearer. The alien ship was torn apart, big pieces spinning in. Space engines melted, and bodies floating around like dolls. He carefully landed his small ship on a flat metal surface of the broken cruiser. The gravity was weak, and there was no light. He grabbed his weapon, flashlight and scanner, then stepped out. Inside, the corridors were dark and silent. Wires hung from the ceiling. There were burn marks on the walls, and the smell of smoke still lingered in the air. Drew moved slowly, scanning for life signs. Beep. The scanner picked up something. Faint. Alive. He followed it. A door was half open. He pushed it, and it made a loud screeching sound. Inside the room, he saw broken furniture, cracked walls, and movement. Under a metal beam, someone was breathing. Drew rushed forward. He knelt beside the figure and saw her blue skin, silver hair, sharp cheekbones, alien but young, beautiful and broken. Her chest moved up and down with pain. Her eyes blinked. She looked at him confused. Scared, Drew raised his hands to show peace. It's okay. I'm here to help. She didn't understand the words. Her translator was dead, but his tone was soft. His eyes were not angry. His weapon stayed down. Kailari tried to speak, but her throat was dry. Her lips moved, but no sound came. She looked at him, expecting him to finish her like the others had, but Drew didn't shoot. Instead, he reached forward and began lifting the beam off her leg. She winced, groaning in pain. I know, Drew said gently. Hold on, just a little more. With a strong push, he moved the heavy metal off her body. Her leg was bleeding, but still attached. He took out a small med patch from his belt and pressed it onto her wounds. It glowed softly and sealed the cut for now. Kailari stared at him with wide eyes. She couldn't believe it. A human was helping her. Her people said humans were monsters, killers, enemies. But this one was saving her. Suddenly, a loud thump echoed through the broken walls. Drew turned sharply. Footsteps, heavy ones. He pulled out his weapon. Something was here. He looked down at Kailari. Can you move? She didn't understand the words, but saw the fear in his eyes. She nodded weakly. Drew picked her up in his arms. She was light, almost weightless in the low gravity. Another thump, closer now. He stepped into the hallway. Holding her tightly, flashlight scanning ahead. Behind them, something metal moved. Kailari heard it too. Her eyes widened in terror. She knew that sound. "Hunter drone," she whispered, voice barely working. Drew didn't understand the word, but he didn't need to. Whatever it was, it was coming, and it wasn't here to help. Without another word, Drew ran, and for the first time since the attack, Kailari felt something in her chest. Hope, asterisk darkness surrounded them as Drew ran through the broken corridors of the alien ship. His flashlight cut through the blackness, shaking with every step. In his arms, Kailari was weak, but alert. Her head rested against his chest, her breathing shallow. She didn't trust him, not yet, but something told her he was her only chance to survive. Behind them, the metal thumps grew louder. Kailari opened her eyes and whispered something. But the words didn't reach Drew. Her voice was faint, her language unknown. Still, he understood what she meant. They had to keep moving. He turned a corner and found a room with a half-collapsed door. He kicked it open and stepped inside, carefully setting Kailari down behind a stack of broken crates. She winced in pain. Holding her leg, Drew raised his weapon and aimed it at the hallway. His heartbeat echoed in his ears. Silence. Then a screeching sound, sharp. It's like metal cutting metal. Something crawled along the wall. He switched off the flashlight and crouched down beside her. She looked at him with wide, glowing eyes, her hand clutching her side. Her wounds were still bleeding. Her suit was damaged, leaking faint sparks and glowing liquid. Drew didn't speak. He simply pointed to her and then to himself. Slowly, he pressed his hand to his chest. "Drew," he said softly. Kailari stared. He pointed again. "Drew." She looked at him, then weakly touched her own chest. "Kailari," she whispered. Their eyes met. For a brief moment, there was no war, no species, no danger. Just two living beings, trapped together in the dark. Then crash. The wall behind them burst open. Sparks flew. A long, sharp metal claw reached through, grabbing air. Kailari screamed. Drew fired his weapon. Bright blue light filled the room. The bullets hit the wall, but the creature moved fast. A long, spider-like machine with red glowing eyes smashed through the gap. Crawling on 6 legs, each one slicing the metal floor, Drew grabbed Kailari and rolled behind a control panel. The drone let out a robotic screech, scanned the room. Its eye glowing brighter, Drew whispered, "Stay down." Though he knew she couldn't understand, he checked his weapon, only 3 rounds left. Kailari looked at him, then at the drone. Her fingers brushed a small, blinking chip on her suit, a control device. She pointed to the drone, then to the device. Drew didn't get it. She tried again, her hand shaking, pointing, drawing shapes in the air. Drew finally understood she could hack it, but she needed power. He looked around. A broken console nearby sparked with flickering lights. He nodded, crawling low. He reached the console and ripped a cable from the wall. The wire sparked dangerously. He threw it to her. Kailari caught it with both hands. The electricity jolted her, but she gritted her teeth and connected the wire to her suit. A pulse of energy lit up her chest. Her suit's remaining systems rebooted for a few seconds. She tapped quickly on the wrist panel. The drone froze, its red eye blinked once, then twice, then dimmed. It collapsed onto the floor like a puppet with its strings cut. Silence returned. Drew looked at her, stunned. "What the hell are you?" Kailari gave a tired smile, barely a smile, and fell back, exhausted. He rushed to her side. Hey, stay with me." Her skin was colder now. Her breathing was weak. Drew knew she wouldn't last long without real medical help. He looked at the path ahead. A twisted hallway, collapsed doors, smoke in the distance. He had to find a way out. Fast. He checked his scanner again. This time it showed something in escape pod bay, not far from their position. Drew picked Kylari up once more. "Come on," he said softly. "You're not dying here." As he stepped into the hallway again, he didn't notice the blinking. Camera on the wall, someone or something was watching. And now they knew he wasn't alone. Drew moved fast through the dark, ruined corridors, carrying Kylari in his arms. The only sound was his heavy breathing and the quiet hum of dying systems. His boots echoed on the metal floor, each step sharper than the last. Kylari's head rested against his shoulder. Her skin felt colder now, her eyes barely open. She whispered in her alien tongue, too weak to speak clearly. Drew didn't understand the words. But he understood one thing. She was fading. The scanner on his wrist showed a blinking green dot. The escape pod bay. It wasn't far now, just one level down. But the closer he got, the worse the ship looked. Walls were melted, doors stuck, and the air smelled of burning wires. He stopped at a lift shaft. The elevator was gone, destroyed, just an open hole leading down into darkness. He looked at Kylari. "No time for Safeways," he muttered, adjusting his grip. He wrapped one arm around a support cable and used his other hand to lower them both, inch by inch. Sparks flashed from broken circuits. Along the walls, a loud groan came from the metal. The ship was dying. Halfway down, something moved above him, a quiet hiss. He looked up and saw glowing red dots appear along the ceiling. Multiple drones. Watching Drew dropped fast, sliding down the cable, burning his gloves as he landed hard on the lower floor. He fell to one knee, keeping Kylari tight in his grip. The red lights above didn't follow. Not yet. He ran again, turning into a wide hallway with cracked lights. The escape bay door was just ahead, but then click, click, click from behind a pile of rubble. A small machine crawled out. It had thin metal legs and one single red eye. A scout droned. It paused, then it screamed, a sharp alarm sound that echoed through the halls. Drew shot it instantly. It sparked, twitched, and collapsed. But it was too late. They were spotted. He kicked open the bay doors and rushed inside. The escape pod was old, dusty, and half buried under junk. But it looked complete. One seat. Enough for two. He placed Kylari inside and quickly powered it on. The control panel lit up with alien symbols. "Damn it," Drew muttered. He didn't know the language. Kylari's eyes fluttered open. Her fingers moved weakly toward the console. She tapped a few commands. The engine started humming. Turned green dot outside. The metal hallways began to shake. The drones were coming. Kylari looked at Drew, then at the seat beside her. She tapped it. "Go," but Drew turned away. He wasn't done. He grabbed a small explosive from his belt and placed it at the entrance to the pod bay. Then he pulled up the camera feed on his wrist. 5 drones, moving fast. He returned to the pod, sealed the hatch, and strapped in beside her. The countdown had already started. 5, 4. The doors exploded open. Drones flooded the bay. 2. Drew pressed the launch button. The pod shot forward like a bullet, blasting through wreckage and into space. Inside, the sudden force threw them back. The stars outside spun as the pod escaped the dead ship, flying into cold darkness. Drew leaned back, breathing hard. "We made it," Kylari said nothing. Her eyes were closed, her chest rising slowly. Drew opened the med kit and used the last healing patch on her side. The glow from the device spread across her skin, sealing one deep wound. It wasn't enough, but it would keep her alive a little longer. She opened her eyes just barely and whispered something again. "Not like others," she said in broken English. "You save." Drew blinked. She spoke his language. "You understand me?" She nodded weakly. "Learn your tongue before war. Never used." He gave her a small smile. "Glad you did." Suddenly, the pod shook. Warning lights flashed. Something had locked onto them. Drew checked the radar. A ship was following. Not drones this time. Something bigger. Kylari saw it too. Her expression changed. Fear returned to her eyes. "Not mine," she whispered. "Hunter's old enemy." "Great," Drew said. Survive one death trap and fly into another. He checked the pod's systems. No weapons, no shields. Just a tiny escape engine. He looked at her. Can you hack them? Like the drone? She shook her head. Chip too strong, too far. Drew gripped the controls. Only one option left: run. He pushed the engine to its limit. The pod shot into a nearby asteroid field, rocks spinning all around them. The pursuing ship followed. Behind them, the hunter ship charged a weapon, and Kylari whispered, "They never stop." The escape pod tumbled into a spinning field of asteroids, chased by a hunter ship that was larger, faster, and heavily armed. Inside the tiny pod, Drew Carter gripped the manual controls with both hands. Weaving through rocks the size of buildings, Kylari sat beside him, barely awake. Her body leaned against the wall, her breathing uneven. Her skin still glowed faintly. Under her wounds, but her energy was fading. Behind them, the enemy ship fired. A red beam sliced past the pod, lighting up the blackness of space. Drew jerked the controls. The pod spun sideways, dodging a sharp rock by inches. Sparks flew from the damaged panel. "We can't outrun them," he muttered. "This thing's not built for fights." Kylari looked at the console. Her fingers moved slowly. "I can help. But need time," she said, her voice soft and broken. "What do you need?" She pointed at the panel, then at the blinking power core underneath. "Energy. More. Power." Drew pulled off a side cover and exposed the wires. He hesitated. If he overloaded the pod's systems, it could burn out completely. But without a boost, they wouldn't last another minute. He looked at her once, then nodded. Double quotes do it. Kylar pulled the wires with trembling hands and connected them to the data port on her wrist device. Her eyes glowed brighter for a second, her suit taking in energy, her fingers moving with more speed now. Outside, the hunter ship launched a small drone swarm, hundreds of small, blade-like machines that scattered through the asteroid field. Searching the pod's alarm rang. "They've sent seekers," Drew said. "Can you do anything?" Kylar didn't speak. She was focused, typing alien commands into the pod system. Symbols flashed across the screen. Blue, red, green, then faded. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The pod's outside skin changed, turning dull, gray, and cold. Drew blinked. "What did you do?" Kylari leaned back. Hidden. Camouflage system. Old tech." The seeker drones flew past, scanning the area. They didn't stop, they didn't turn. One by one, they vanished into the distance. The enemy ship slowed down, scanning in all directions. Drew let out a breath. "You're a genius," Kylari smiled weakly. "Not genius, just survivor." But the danger wasn't over. The pod was. Now invisible, but also disabled. It was floating dead in space, silent and still. Shh. No power, no signal, and no movement. "How long can we stay like this?" Drew asked. Kylari looked at her wrist. "Not long, they scan heat next." Drew nodded. "Then we need a real plan." He pulled out a small holographic map from his belt, showed local space routes, asteroid paths, and hidden sectors. There, he pointed. Old mining station. Abandoned, but could still have fuel, tools, maybe a signal array. Kylari studied it. "Far. We'll drift there. Silent. If we make it before they detect us, we fix the pod. And get out of this system." Kylari nodded, then winced. Her side bled again. Drew quickly reached into the medkit. "Only one injector left? You sure you want to use this now?" he asked. Kylari met his eyes. "If I die, you die too." Drew smirked. "Fair point." He injected the serum into her side. Her body flinched, then slowly relaxed. Her breathing steadied. Her voice grew a little stronger. "I don't understand humans," she said. "We're hard to explain," Drew replied, still watching the scanner. "You fight us, destroy our fleets, but you save me. Why?" Drew glanced at her. "I've seen enough death. Didn't want to leave one more body behind." Kylari looked down. My people. They left me too. Silence filled the pod. Cold. Heavy. Drew leaned back. Well, not me. Ours passed. The pod drifted quietly toward the mining station. No sign of the hunter's ship. No signal alerts. Just cold stars and silent rocks as they neared the station. Kailari powered up the pod's systems just for a moment. The station blinked on the scanner. Still intact? Still dockable? They locked onto the landing bay and glided toward it. The pod hit the dock with a soft clang. The outer doors opened. Drew and Kailari stepped into the station. Dark, empty, but breathable. Lights flickered. Buzzed faintly. Kailari looked around. Feels like home. Drew checked a terminal. Power cells here. Enough to recharge. Maybe Fix comes too. Ari walked to a panel and opened a port. Her fingers worked quickly. Faster now. She had hope. But outside the station in the darkness behind an asteroid, the hunter ship sat still. Watching. Waiting. Inside the ship, a voice said, "They've gone quiet. They're hiding. Let them. We'll find them when they run again." The abandoned mining station was silent, like a ghost left behind in space. Its long metal halls were dusty. Its lights flickered without rhythm, and the air smelled of oil and rust. But for now, it was a shelter. It's a temporary peace, Kailari. Sat on the cold floor beside a glowing power cell, her eyes closed, her body still healing. The energy from the station had recharged her suit, and her wounds were slowly repairing. Her blue skin was less pale now, but her face still carried exhaustion and pain. Drew stood at a control terminal nearby, working with old Earth tech connected to alien ports. He had opened a weak com signal and was trying to reach out. "Mayday. This is Recon Sergeant Drew Carter," he said into the mic. "I've got a survivor, alien female, wounded. We need extraction and medical evac. I repeat, I'm not hostile, but I've gone off mission." He sent the message. The screen stayed blank for a few seconds. Then a voice answered. "Sergeant Carter. This is Command Unit Theta. Message received. Extraction team en route. Remain at location. Do not move." Drew exhaled in relief. "Api." "That," he turned to Kailari. "Help's coming." She opened her eyes. "Human help." He nodded. She looked away. "They'll take me." "Experiment, question, torture." "No," Drew said. "I won't let them." She looked into his eyes, searching, doubting, hoping. "Why do you protect me?" Drew didn't answer at first. He sat beside her and leaned back against the wall. "I lost a friend once," he said. "Left behind, no rescue. Just a name on a report." He glanced at her. "I don't leave people behind anymore. Not even aliens." Kailari didn't speak. But for the first time, her hand reached out and rested lightly on his. That moment didn't last. The station shook a soft rumble at first, then a sharp clank in the docking bay. Drew stood up, tense. "That's fast," he muttered. "Extraction team's early." Kailari's eyes narrowed. Too fast. Drew picked up his rifle and checked the feed from the station's cameras. 2 drop pods had landed, not standard rescue crafts. These were black armored tactical units, the kind sent in when command didn't want survivors. Each soldier wore dark X armor with glowing visors and pulse rifles ready. His screen blinked again. A message came through this time. Not audio, just text. "Secure the target. If alien resists, terminate." Drew's face went cold. He looked at Kailari. "They're not here to help you. They're here to take you." Kailari didn't look. "Surprised? I told you. This is what humans do." Drew cursed under his breath. "Not me." He yanked out the power core he had installed, shutting off the external beacon. Then he ran to a back panel and opened a hidden maintenance hatch. "In here, now." Kailari limped forward, her body weak, but her spirit alert. She followed him inside the narrow tunnel. Outside, the soldiers swept the corridors, silent and fast. Drew moved quickly through the vents, guiding her toward the ship bay. "We're getting out of here." There's a service shuttle docked on the lower level. Barely flying, but better than nothing. Kalari spoke softly behind him. They'll hunt you too now, I know. She touched his shoulder. You don't have to do this. He turned. Yeah, I do. Below, the soldiers split up. One of them stopped near the panel Drew had opened. He noticed something. He tapped his cum. Movement in lower levels. They're on the run. Orders came in instantly. To live if possible, but not necessary. Drew and Kailari dropped down into the shuttle bay. The ship was small, covered in dust, but its engine light was still green. Drew ran to the cockpit and activated the controls. Come on, come on. Kailari helped load the power cell into the ship's core. Doors slammed open above them. Shots fired. Drew ducked, grabbing his rifle and firing back, not to hit, just to cover. Kailari jumped into the ship. Pulling the hatch closed, Drew followed and launched the shuttle. It shot out of the station, spinning, shaking, but flying. The station behind them grew smaller. On his radar, Drew saw new blips. Ships moving in formation. Earth Command had sent a full strike team. It's not to help, but to silence. Kailari sat in silence, staring at the stars ahead. Drew turned to her. No going back now. She looked at him, then we go forward. Drew nodded. Somewhere they won't find us. Kailari smiled, a real one this time. There is such a place, but it's far and dangerous. Drew leaned back and grinned. Sounds perfect. But behind them, Earth Command wasn't done. They tagged the shuttle as hostile rogue. A kill order was signed, and the hunt was just beginning. Asterisk, the stars stretched endlessly across the dark window of the shuttle. Drew sat in the pilot's seat, one hand on the controls, the other resting on his sidearm. Kailari sat beside him, quiet, her glowing eyes scanning the nav screen. They were alone now, but not safe. Behind them, Earth Command had marked their ship with a red tag. Rogue unit, armed. Alien aboard. Use force. Drew had once worn. The same uniform as the soldiers now chasing him. He had followed orders without question. But now, he was the target. Kailari leaned forward. One jump, two jumps, then they find us. You're right, Drew said. They've got better tech, faster ships. But they don't have you. Kailari raised an eyebrow. You think I can save us again? Think he said with a faint smile. You're full of surprises. Her face softened just for a second. Suddenly, the shuttle's alert lit up. Proximity ping. Drew's smile vanished. They're here. Kailari looked at the screen. They brought a hunter frigate. A large, sleek ship appeared in the distance, sliding out of hyperspace like a black knife in the dark. Its cannons glowed, its radar sweeping wide. Drew gripped. The controls? We won't win in a fight. Kailari pointed to a nearby sector. Nebula cloud. Interference zone. We reach it, they can't track us. Drew didn't wait. He turned the shuttle sharply, speeding toward the dense glowing fog behind them. The hunter frigate fired. Twin plasma bolts screamed past the shuttle, one missing by inches. The other clipped the wing, shaking the ship hard. Kailari hit the wall, grabbing a strap. Stabilizers offline. Then hold on, Drew shouted. We're flying dirty. They plunged into the nebula. The view outside changed instantly. Stars disappeared, replaced by thick clouds of blue and green gas. Electricity sparked through the mist. The ship's scanners went blind. No radar, Drew said. No comms. No way to call for help, Kailari looked at him. Hey, good. Now they can't find us either. The hunter frigate paused at the edge of the nebula. Its captain spoke to the command center. They've gone into the storm. Recommend waiting. Won't survive long in there. Back in the shuttle, Drew flew blind, relying only on instinct. The ship rattled as the energy storm pushed back. Suddenly the lights inside flickered. Kailari looked around. Energy field is draining the core. Drew cursed under his breath. How long do we have? She tapped on the console. 6 minutes, maybe 7. Drew tightened his grip. We need a place to land. Anything, Kailari. Pulled up an old map from her suit's memory bank. A faint marker appeared. Old research platform, abandoned during the First Galactic War. It's inside this nebula. Coordinates. She sent them to the shuttle. Drew turned sharply. As they flew deeper, the ship began to shake violently. Sparks flew from the walls. Structural failure and 10% of hull, Kylari said. Not good odds. Drew laughed once, just to stay sane. I've worked with worse. They finally saw it, a small, circular station, floating silently inside the storm. Its lights were off, its docking arms were twisted. But it was still there. Drew brought the shuttle in slowly, avoiding broken metal pieces. The docking clamp. Engaged with a deep metallic clang, the ship powered down. Silence returned. Kylari leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. We made it. For now, Drew said. They stepped inside the station. It was dark, cold, and filled with dust. And old Earth signs were still on the walls. Sector 12 Biolab. Security level 5, and do not enter without clearance. Kylaris. Eyes adjusted quickly. This place is not safe. Neither is space, Drew replied. Let's take our chances. They found a small control room. Drew activated the backup power. Lights flickered on. Suddenly a loud click echoed behind them. A door slid open on its own. Kylari tensed. We're not alone. Drew raised his weapon. From the shadows, a robotic voice spoke. Welcome, unauthorized life forms. Defense mode. Activating. Turrets dropped from the ceiling. Kylari jumped forward, pressing her hand to the console. Her fingers danced over alien commands. Wait, she said. I can override the turrets charged. Drew aimed. If this is the end, it's not, Kylari said. She slammed one final command. The turret stopped, then slowly retracted. Drew stared at her. Still full of surprises, he said. She looked at him, chest rising and falling. Haven't seen anything yet. Outside the nebula, the Hunter frigate waited. A signal came through from Earth Command. Engage when contact is re-established. Human target is now Class 3 traitor. Use lethal force. Inside the old research station, silence returned, heavy and strange. The lights flickered weakly, casting shadows across rusted walls and forgotten tech. Dust floated in the air, untouched for years. It was a place built for science. A hiding place for fugitives. Kylari stood by a tall observation window, staring into the glowing clouds of the nebula. The storm outside rumbled softly. Her wounds had healed, her skin brighter now, her voice steadier. But her eyes still held the weight of everything she'd lost. Behind her, Drew Carter adjusted the station's ancient systems. The generators. We're running the scanners offline, and the defense grid fully under Kylari's control. He glanced at her, still amazed by how quickly she understood human machines. You okay? He asked. She didn't turn. I don't know. Drew walked closer. That's honest. Kylari finally looked at him. I've been hunted by my people. I've been hunted by yours. I don't know where I belong anymore. Drew leaned against the console beside her.
Oh, maybe we don't need to belong.
Maybe. We just need to be free. She gave a small, tired smile. Freedom is not something my kind talks about. Then maybe it's time someone did. Before she could answer, the console lit up. Drew stepped forward. A signal was coming through. Faint, broken, but real. A message from Earth Command. Recon Sergeant Carter. This is High Command. Final warning, you are harboring a hostile alien. Surrender immediately or face full military force. Kylari read the words, her face expressionless. Drew stared at the screen for a long moment. Then he walked to the mic. He pressed the button and said nothing, just silence. Then he turned it off. Kylari blinked. You didn't respond? There's no point, he said. They already decided I'm a traitor. You still have time, she said quietly. If you give me up, they'll take you back. Drew didn't even flinch. Not an option. She stepped closer, looking into his eyes. You'd risk your life? For someone like me? You're not someone like you, he said. You're you, and no one else came to save you. For the first time, she looked at him not with fear, but with trust. Then what now, she asked. He took a breath. We send a message, not to them, to everyone. Kailari tilted her head. What message? That humans and aliens don't have to destroy each other. That war doesn't make us enemies. That sometimes a soldier chooses mercy over orders. She said nothing, but her expression changed, like something old inside her was breaking, and something new was growing. Together they connected. The comes to an ancient, long-range transmitter deep inside the station. It hadn't been used in years. Drew rewired the uplink, while Kailari translated the signal into multiple alien dialects. When it was ready, they stood side by side. Drew turned. On the mic, his voice was calm, steady. This is Sergeant Drew Carter. I'm a human soldier. I rescued an alien survivor from a war zone. She was left to die by her own people. Mine tried to finish the job. I won't let that happen. He paused, then nodded to Kailari. She stepped forward. Her voice was smooth, strong. I am Kailari, of the Rythan species. I was taught that humans were monsters, killers, unfeeling. But one saved me, not because I was useful. Not because he was ordered. 2. But because he refused to watch someone suffer. She looked into the camera. If you're listening, stop the hate. Stop the lies. We don't have to keep destroying each other. They ended the transmission and sent it out far and wide. Across human space, alien networks, outlaw relays, and forgotten frequencies. The message was simple, but powerful. They didn't know who would hear it, but someone would. Hours passed. The nebula storm continued outside, hiding them from Earth's ships. Then something unexpected. The console beeped a reply signal, not from Earth, not from Kylaris. People from a rogue colony station, a neutral zone. The voice said, "We heard your message. We believe you. Come. You'll be safe here." Kalari's eyes widened. Someone listened. Drew smiled. Told you. They prepared the shuttle one last time before they left. Kailari stood in the station doorway and looked back. This place was a tomb when we arrived, she said. Now it's a beginning. Drew nodded. Hope starts small. They launched. Quietly, one small ship carrying 2 people who should have been enemies, but instead became something more. As the nebula faded behind them, Kailari turned to him. Why did you really save me, Drew? He looked at her because no one else did.